Here it is, overreaction week, NFL week 2. Are we buying or are we selling? I have the entire Why Lose team here. We're locked in. We're dialed in. We have 5 NFL best bets for week 2, a pizza money parlay that's plus 5,000, and much, much, much more. NFL player performance starts now.
If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player performance with J.A. Cavalier.
Here we are, NFL Week 2, the biggest overreaction week of the season. I am J.A. Cavalier, your favorite capper's favorite capper. This right here is player performance. Go ahead, smash the like button, thumbs up. Appreciation is always appreciated. And of course, we appreciate you guys the most. If you're new here, welcome. Now go ahead and subscribe. We do this every week. Free picks from the entire Why Lose team. I'm going to be joined by Coach Rick Bowe, Shark, Gunz, and of course the prop master Luke Shuey. We're going to tell you who we like. We're going to tell you why we like them. Getting you guys ready for NFL Week 2. Hopefully making you smarter players along the way. NFL Week 2 in just a sec. First, let's recap Week 1 with Tessa Hall.
Back it up. One more time.
All right, let's see that again.
Here's your NFL Week 1 recap. Jalen Carter knows how to spit on that thing. The Cowboys still don't know how to win, even when Philly was down their best player. If you didn't know the name Emeka Egbuka, Falcons fans now do, as he plays Freddy Krueger in their nightmares. Tua should have had to have a concussion test after every play if he can't beat Daniel Jones and the Colts. We need a formal investigation into how the Browns got cursed after game-winning kicks were missed. Tom Brady did the unthinkable. He beat the Patriots from the owner's suite. Spencer Rattler is like the dollar store version of Kyler Murray, who looked like the Walmart version of Lamar in Week 1. Aaron Rodgers might have given his teammates some supplements to survive a track meet against his old team. Russell Wilson still sucks. Can you believe it? Never saw it coming. Bryce Young took all the positive momentum from last year and let the Jaguars piss all over it. If you like soccer, you loved the Titans and Broncos game, which had 6 freaking field goals in 2 slumping offenses. 2 wins for the Niners. They beat the Seahawks, and they got to dump Jake Moody. Dan Campbell went from Superman to Howard the Duck without his coordinators by his side. CJ Stroud is a magician. He made us believe he was going to be a perennial MVP candidate, but instead might be Blake Bortles 2.0. Josh Allen brought his MVP trophy to the game, showed it to Lamar, and then showed him why he might win another one this season. The city of Chicago was about to burn to the ground, but then the Bears blew a lead and lost another heartbreaker. That's your NFL Week 1 recap.
Thanks, Tessa. All right, so hot or not, these are my takes from Week 1, where I was right, where I was wrong. First off, when it came to my bets, hard to imagine anybody had a Week 1 like I did. 17-5 overall, 3-0 on my 10 dimes, 3-0 on my 20 dimes. Let's keep that fucking rolling. So where I was right, there is life after Micah Parsons. Kenny Clark, nice addition. They're going to win a lot of games, but they're going to have to do so on offense. But that narrative was going to be true whether they had Micah or not. The O-line, it's young, but it's improving, and it's going to continue to prove through the weeks. Williams, much needed upgrade at running back. Looked better than even I thought he would. However, if the offensive line is going to go and they're going to play well, then of course the running back is going to as well. And it's easy to throw the ball when your receiver room is CD, Pickens, and Turpin. That's going to be a 3-headed monster that everybody in the league right now is on notice. Also, new sheriff in town, AFC West, changing of the guard. We have Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, and the Chargers. They absolutely own the division. The Kansas City Chiefs just looked old, slow, and pretty much done. Chargers controlled the game on both sides of the line, offense and defensive line in the trenches. They dominated, absolutely dominated. On Justin Herbert, and I don't know if it's the Madison Beer effect or not. We'll just mark it up as the Madison Beer effect, but he played with a ton of swag, and he looked his best that he has since he's entered the league. Also, Of course, how could you not mention, put some respect on that man's name, the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. The dude just has that dog in him. The Bills, they're going to win the Super Bowl. I like this pre-flop. I like it even more after the first week, after they beat the Ravens. They were all but dead and buried in that game. And then, of course, Superman put him on his back and just carried him to the finish line. And Mike McDaniels is gone. That's right. The hot seat just got hotter. Look, one thing you have to realize when it comes to offensive-minded coaches, you have to reinvent yourself year after year, or the league catches up. Now, I get it. These guys, offensive coordinators, they all look like nerds, right? They all look like these nerdy guys that are sitting there just studying film, playing with X's and O's on their computer. And when you look at defensive coordinators, they look like these big, burly guys. Most of them are jacked, the Robert Salas, the Floreses of the world. Some of the best defenses, they all look like they played the game and probably could still suit up and play. However, these dudes are professionals too. They get checks too. You understand? They're just as smart and they're going to adjust. So you have to adjust and you have to keep reinventing yourself. Also, last point I'll make of where I was right, Caleb Williams is absolutely a fucking bust. And I know people are going to make the argument that he gets rid of the ball quick. Yes, he gets rid of the ball quick, but it's easy when you're throwing to your checkdowns. It's easy when you're only throwing to your checkdowns. The kid is too scared to make throws down the field. He's too scared to put the ball in harm's way. And when he does, he doesn't throw a very pretty deep ball. Definitely Caleb Williams, bust out on Caleb Williams. Now, of course, you know what? You're just like everybody else on YouTube or all the other talking heads on YouTube if you don't admit where you were wrong. So here are my not so hot takes from week 1 of the NFL. Raiders may have actually found life. Geno Smith may be the answer. I mean, for fuck's sakes, 362 yards, that's a mic drop. And I don't care what defense you're playing against. If you're playing against an NFL defense, you drop over 350 yards, that gets an attaboy, right? Russell Wilson will not make it to week 4. He's he's basically one bad start against the Dallas Cowboys from Riding Pine. They're one bad start against the Dallas Cowboys from Jackson Dart. Now, I said it was going to happen after week 4. I don't think he lasts that long. Detroit. I thought that offense would be pretty much plug and play with the offensive line. Now, I don't know what it is, but that's not the Detroit that we've grown accustomed to seeing. Maybe, not all world offensive line, but still a top 5. Dolphins, right about Mike McDaniels. I was wrong in week 1. I thought they were going to do enough and they were going to pile on the points. In fact, I didn't play them plus the point. I didn't take them straight up. What I did was I actually played their team total over. I thought they would easily skate past the 23.5. Boy, was I fucking wrong on that. We all knew that they had problems on defense. We assumed the offense would still be able to put up points, and I prayed for Tua. It's not funny. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny. The guy's already playing with concussions, already concussion issues. Behind that offensive line, dude might die. I'm literally afraid for fucking Tua. I'm afraid for this man's life. Now, when I was dialed in with my best bets this week, this is where things got really good. Elite bets 6-0, 3-0 on 10 dimes, 3-0 on 20 dimes, 17-5 overall in week 1. We're going to look to carry that success into week 2. So all aboard, it's pulling into the station. Here comes the money train. Hop on right now. All aboard. Let's go.
Jaguars versus Bengals.
Jacksonville, off of their win over the big, bad Carolina Panthers, head to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Bengals here are laying just over a field goal, and the total's at 48. All right, let me throw this one to you, Coach. Jaguars, Bengals, who do you got? Because from a short perspective, Jacksonville actually looks like the side. The Bengals in week 1, classic public trap, product on the field less than stellar, leaky offensive line. Joe Burrow was pressured 40% of his dropbacks, 130 fucking passing yards. That's crazy. From Joe Burrow in this Cincinnati offense, 130 passing yards, 7 yards in the second half. But they did get the win, more so because of the plethora of Browns' mistakes, right? So it really wasn't anything Cincinnati did. It was more so that the Browns lost then the Bengals won, right? Late McPherson field goal basically clinched it. Jacksonville quietly cashed. No one was talking about it because, of course, it was the Carolina Panthers. Top 10 in pass block win rate. Trevor Lawrence dealing. ETN was playing like he was playing on fucking rookie mode in Madden. 143 yards. Public money are going to keep chasing Joe Burrow. We know that, right? It's Joe Cool. It's Joey Gox. But that's reputation. That's not reality. Sharp bettors, don't put milk bones on fucking mutts. Are you going to follow the crowd or are you going to roll with the Jags?
I'm not going to roll with the crowd. I'm gonna take off on my own path. I think there's a little
coach out here trailblazing, guys.
That's right, man. I'm my own man, dude. You mentioned ATN. ATN had 143 yards. 71 of them were on one carry. Which he still averaged almost 5 yards a carry on the rest of them. But can Cincinnati shut him down? I think they can, but I really don't care. What I really care about is Cincinnati's offense, and I think you get a bounce back performance from those guys. They're just too talented. With Burrow, Chase, all those guys, and the Jags secondary is nothing special. I mean, I expect Joe Burrow to play well, come back, and do what they do. I mean, they score points. Why is the total, I think it opened at 48.5, 49. Why is it so high? Because I think we're expecting points. I actually like the Bengals to go over their team total. It's set at 26.5. I know they shit the bed last week, but I mean, you look at this offense from late last year, 30, 37, 38, 41. I mean, they can put up points, and I think they do this week. Bengals over 26.5.
Yeah, I definitely expect them to get right. Now, I was wrong on the Bengals offense last week. I do think they bounce back in this spot. The Browns front is legit, right? I get it. And I also get that the Jacksonville Jaguars have a guy by the name of Josh Allen. But look, they're not Cleveland. Stefanski also knows Burrows. I would almost say with certainty that the Bengals are going to score more than 17 points. Almost certainty. I'm also going to say I don't think that the Bengals defense is 16 points good. So I also expect points in this game. I expect points from both sides. I actually think the Bengals probably do most of the heavy lifting, but don't quote me on that. So I'm also going to go over the 48.5. Coach Rick Bowe and I are in lockstep with this one.
Bears versus Lions.
Chicago heads to Detroit to take on the Lions. The Lions here laying 6.5, total at 46.5. Now, I always say that two things can both be true at the same time, even if they conflict. So on one side, we had J.J. McCarthy, rookie of sorts, started with the jitters. On the other side, the Bears defense controlled the entire game, controlled the line of scrimmage, suffocating pressure, pick six. But then what had happened was Caleb just couldn't convert, right? He couldn't extend drives. So which is it? Are both right? The second half belonged to JJ, right? JJ had that aha moment. And you typically see that aha moment from a young quarterback when the thing starts to slow down, when they start to trust their reads, when they start to trust their talent, when they start to trust their offense. And at that moment, Chicago's defense looked like Swiss cheese. So here's the question. Is it more so the Chicago's defense? Do we just not trust it? Or were they just on the field for too long because of their offense, because of their quarterback?
I think it's a little bit of both. And if you didn't see it, J.J. McCarthy not only had an aha moment, he found confidence in the huddle. Aaron Jones came, and you might have seen an interview. He said, "Where would you guys rather be? I want to be right fucking here with you." And bam, they took over the game. Now it's NFC North. It's Bears Lions. You know where I'm going with this, Jay? It's got to be Gibbs.
Well, it's not David Montgomery. I'm out on that. So
yeah,
you tell me.
We're done with Monty. It's got to be Jahmyr Gibbs in this game. It's a bounce back spot. I'm going for his combo yards here, rushing and receiving. The total's over 100. Sounds insane, but it's not. It's an over number, 101 and a half yards. We're going over. Last week, we saw the horrendous Lions performance, Ben Johnson's departure. I expect a massive improvement here as the talent is still on the roster. What we do know, maybe the most electric running back in the NFL, Gibbs, still on this roster, and he's going to get his touches. Gibbs' longest play from scrimmage last week in 19 touches was 6 fucking yards. 6. He may never do that again or be limited to like that in his career. He's going to break out big time in this game. Multiple long gains. I love this line. It's an over line. Lions dominate. Gibbs runs wild. Over 101.5 rushing and receiving yards. at first one of the year on player performance. Book it, baby.
So where's the advantage in this? Is the advantage for the Detroit Lions and the defense, knowing Ben Johnson's tendencies, or is the advantage more so for Ben Johnson and the Bears defense knowing the Lions' tendencies?
That's a good one. I think it's advantage Lions. They know his philosophy, and even
No. You hope it's advantage Lions. You know what I'm saying? But you know what they say, shit in one hand, hope in the other. You know what I'm saying?
I will take the hope. Yeah. I gotta lean Detroit here. I think the line should be bigger than it is. I don't know. Are you saying that the Lions might not cover this?
Well, here's what I know, right? So I'm completely off by Monty anytime touchdown. And it's sad, right? It was a national holiday around these parts, right? So naturally, it's going to cash this week, right? Because that's just the way how this shit goes. That's just sports gambling for you. See, my issue is I didn't recognize, this version of Detroit. Who are they? What's their identity? I saw nothing from this offensive coordinator, and I mean, do I think they win? Yes. Do I think they cover? I mean, honestly, I don't know. Because I do know this, right? Caleb Williams is awful. His dink and dunks are a direct correlation of being afraid to put the ball in the air, put the ball in harm's way. He had plenty of opportunities down the field to stretch the field, right? And they were open. They were there. You saw it early in the first half with a Gunz. But you know what? He opted over and over and over for his checkdowns. That's playing with fear. You can't play with fear and be successful in the NFL. And I don't care how good your offensive coordinator is. Like we discussed with Rick on Sunday's show, can you teach that? Can you teach that confidence? Can you teach getting the ball out and putting it in the right place? And I don't think you can, right? Either a guy has it or he doesn't. JJ McCarthy, you could tell he had it, right? Caleb Williams over and over, and I saw it at USC, and now I'm seeing it here in Chicago. Everything has to go right for him to feel comfortable. And then he sits there beating his chest with his painted nails as if he did something great because he could, because he picked up 10 yards running or because he completed a 5-yard out to Swift. You know what? I don't see that confidence, and it's hard for me to ever invest in a quarterback who's not confident. You know what I'm saying? Like you can sit here and say, oh, well, that's confidence. Look at him beating his chest. He's getting excited. No, listen, you know what? That's a young kid just being overzealous, right? That's not confidence. Where his confidence shows up is he throwing the ball down the field? Is he putting the ball up and trusting his receivers? And Caleb Williams isn't. Right? Like, he absolutely isn't. So I don't really trust Caleb Williams in this spot. I don't know how much I trust Detroit's offense right now, because I haven't seen anything about Green Bay. And you can say what you want. Oh, the Packers defense, the game plan. How could they have a game plan? I don't know what their offense was. Like, I don't know what the Detroit offense was. I don't think anybody does. You can't beat anybody in the NFL not taking shots down the field. These 3 and 5 yard little pass plays, they don't work if you're not taking shots down the field. Your run game, so Gibbs breaking out into the open, it doesn't work if you're not taking shots down the field. So it's hope that they're going to take shots down the field because they have the horses to do it. They have probably the best 1-2 punch at receiver in the league as far as deep shots, maybe outside of the Dallas Cowboys now with the addition of Pickens. When you have a guy like Williams and you have a guy like St. Brown's, you have to you have to open up the reins on them horses, right? You have to let them horses get out and run. You know what I mean? Or else, what do? They get complacent, they get fat, right? And the run game doesn't happen. The run game doesn't work if you don't. So that's my only fear here, Luke.
That's fair. And I think we don't know what Detroit's offense is. I'm banking on them truly being a buy low after such a shitty performance. What I do know is Gibbs is going to be the guy to get the ball. So I'm banking, again, on his touches here. He's going to have easily over 20 touches. And what I do love is the Bears, once the Vikings got moving, they were getting gashed in the run game. You saw Jordan Mason, Vikings secondary running back, find huge open running lanes. I think he even had like a 30-yard run. Gibbs is way more elite than Jordan Mason, so I'm all over Gibbs in this spot.
I will say this. It looked like he locked into Gibbs as their premier back, and it wasn't a 1-2 punch as it's been in the past, like that thunder and lightning that they had going on the last couple of years. It looked more so it was just Gibbs heavy, and then Monty would come in spots, right? It wasn't rotating series anymore. So, again, I can't get to either side. I mean, obviously, I'll root for your Gibbs props because I just want the Bears losing because the less I have to see Caleb Williams, the better. You know what I mean? Like nobody's more disgusted. And I had a very small play on the Bears. I just thought it was a good spot. JJ making his first start on the road, national television spotlight game. I thought it was going to be a Bears spot. Caleb Williams now with another really good offensive-minded head coach. I thought he would put Caleb in position to be successful, and he did just that, right? Like he had the opportunities. There is no way that the Bears don't win and cover that game by 2 touchdowns, and yet, Caleb Williams looked bad. The Lions offense looks stale and boring. So I don't really know where to go with this, but that's why they call you the prop master. So we'll say Gibbs. Now, what's your best prop with Gibbs? Is yardage, his all-purpose? How do you like this?
Yeah, the reason I went all purpose, it's a super high line. It's going to draw people to take the under. It's 101.5 rushing and receiving yards. Nobody in the league is going to have that. Maybe Saquon on a nice night, but the reason you take the over here, he had 10 catches last game, only accumulated 30 yards. But if the dude's getting 10 catches and at least 10 rushes, like give me the over all day here. He can break a 50-yarder on any play.
Yeah, there's nobody better in space than Gibbs. All right, there you have it.
Rams versus Titans.
The Rams head to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Rams here are laying 5.5. The total at 42.5. All right, Gunz, Rams, Titans. Week 1 gave us some pretty loud signals. Tennessee's offense, dead on arrival. Barely 200 total yards, and they didn't crack 3 yards per carry. They looked like they were punting on first down. Now, that's not inefficiency. That's malpractice. The Rams, however, came with a little bit more balance. Actually, believe it or not, even though they put up a low number, they put up 20 points in that game. 14 points. 14 points against the Texans. Still, that was the Texans' defense, but Matthew Stafford was moving the ball. They just didn't finish drives, right? What do you like here? Are you taking the Rams? It seems like sharps are coming in here on the Titan side. I don't know what the narrative is for that, but who do you like here?
Yeah, I'm looking a little bit more towards the total. When you look at these two teams, you kind of saw a little bit of sample size of the offenses, and I wasn't impressed from both sides. Even though you look at the Rams from an ATS standpoint, 7-1 ATS is an away favorite dating back to 2021. They performed well on the road. And then we saw a little sample size with Cam Ward in that offense, and a lot of pressures from the Denver Broncos last week. Really was tough for him to get the ball. The yardage was bad, and they didn't put up a lot of points. So I think from both sides, the offenses have some struggles and have some growing pains that they're going to have to figure out as we get further and further into the season. But what I saw is I was impressed by both defenses. When you actually look at the week 1 numbers, you have the Rams holding a good Houston offense to 9 points, creating 2 turnovers in the game. And then Tennessee holding Denver to just 20 points, where they should have been 36 or maybe more. But, turnovers were a play. And they actually
Bo Nix. Basically, that's what it was. It was Bo Nix. It was Bo Nix.
I thought it was impressive, though, with the Tennessee Titans. 4 yards per play is quite impressive to hold this Denver offense that was, very good at the end of the season last year. Then the Tennessee O-line has had their issues. You put blitzes on him. Cam Warren just kind of running around, and he's a young quarterback. He doesn't know how to make the adjustments and make the quick decisions. He was sacked 6 times and only put up 62 passing yards last game. So what does that correlate to? It correlates to an under on this one because you look at the number right now, it's dropping. And I got it at 42.5. It's going to drop to 41.5. And I say, buy it now. This is going to be an under all day long from 2 bad offenses, but 2 pretty good defenses. So give me the Rams, Tennessee under 42.5 as the play.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I kind of see this as a snooze fest as well. I mean, the evidence and the numbers from last week absolutely support it. The Rams beat Houston 14-9 at home. That was all defense, right? Field goals, turnovers, and the Titans opened up with a 20-12 loss. They couldn't find the end zone, and struggled with efficiency, got sacked a bunch, and couldn't sustain drives. Mistakes, drops by guys that you didn't expect. You bring in Ridley to be your number 1, and in the most critical moments, he's dropping passes as well. But that's going to be the growing pains of a rookie quarterback, right? And I do think that Cam Ward is going to be just fine. He wasn't rattled. That's the one thing I'm going to say about I took away from week 1. He wasn't rattled. The moment wasn't too big for him. But look, there's going to be struggles, and there's always going to be struggles. And here's the value, that hides within this team. Both offenses last week showed rust, right? But defenses looked far more polished. And the truth is even in a world where Stafford goes out and they put the offensive game plan together, There's still a world where Tennessee can't match them, right? So you could still get 30 points from the Rams in this spot, and this game still goes well under the posted total. So I'm in lockstep with you there. I'm also on the under in this game. I'm not going to get to either side, at least right now. Maybe something comes in later in the week, but I'm definitely on the under in this as well.
J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. 3 NFL games for this Sunday. 3 straight, 3 two-team parlays, 1 week, $99. His Pro Football Triple Crown must go 3-0 or the entire NFL season is free. J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. Link in the description below. Click the link now and jump on the money train.
Patriots versus Dolphins.
New England heads to Miami to take on the Dolphins. The line here is the Dolphins laying 1, total at 42.5. Coach, week 1, Patriots look like regret and the Dolphins look like desperation. That's typically how I like my women. Desperate, followed by regret. Miami looked like a total dumpster fire, 33-8 to Indianapolis, turning it over 3 times. Tyreek and Waddle combined for 70 yards. That's right. You heard it correctly, 70. McDaniel already on the hot seat. Now, did he lose the room? About this New England team, right? We know under Vrabel, they're not going to be flashy. But they weren't competent either, right? Defense kept them in it a little bit. Drake May avoided disaster. Pats actually won the time of possession. The public loves Miami because Miami, of course, what is it? It's sexy, right? It's a sexy brand. But Sharp see the cracks in it. Defense allowed over 400 yards, 0 takeaways. Offensive line looked fucking, like a set of traffic cones. Are you going to back the Fins here, or does Miami have many problems? See what I did there?
God, yeah, that's he'll be here all night. God, I mean, is there a shittier game on this schedule? I mean, God.
I don't know, man. I found a lot of value in this. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe you see it one way and I see it another. I see a lot of value in this game.
There actually is value. And is it on Miami? No. And again, this is kind of like the Carolina deal. Miami at home, 1 p.m. games. Whatever. Tua, he's done this against the Pats. And what is he?
7-0. Just saying, 7-0.
4-0. Tua and McDaniel. Okay, great.
You don't catch a falling knife there, big guy.
I know. I hear you.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Listen, here's where I find the value. Okay, and I don't find the value on either side because I don't like either side. But
okay, so you have the total. Let's go.
I don't have a total. If I did have a total, I'd lean towards the under, and we've seen it drop a little bit already. But
no,
I like both quarterbacks. Okay, because here's what both quarterbacks are going to do. Right, Vrabel's going to blitz the shit out of Tua. Tua's going to make a mistake or two, like he did last week. He threw 2 picks. Drake May, still young, learning, threw a pick last week. I like either one or both for at least 1 interception. I would play either one over.
What's the price on them?
May is -104 to a -105.
See, now here's the problem with playing both, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Miami secondary is decimated, right? It's trash. So, I mean, if you're going to play, you're probably going to have to play Tua. And I don't know that I can get there personally, but I mean, if that's your prop here, that I don't have a problem. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, for me, this is the dead cat bounce. So Fins up, right? And this is just the perfect buy low spot. Tua, as I stated, 7-0 against New England. The Dolphins also 5-0, both ATS and straight up, the last 5 against New England at Hard Rock. That defense gave up 362 yards to Geno fucking Smith. What do you think a pissed off Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle are going to do against this defense? Fins up here, man. This is going to be a feeding frenzy. And you know what's on the menu? Tuna. That's right, tuna. Matter of fact, listen, I gave this guarantee, and I'm gonna back it like this, right? This is my backing. Okay. If the Dolphins don't win and cover here this week, I will come on live, right? And I will eat clam chowder out of a New England Patriot helmet or out of a Dolphin helmet.
Or Dolphin helmet. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I'll eat it out of a Dolphin helmet if the Dolphins don't cover. So that's my backing. No. I will come on the show and I will eat clam chowder out of a Dolphin helmet.
Can I throw this out there then? I'll just throw this
Please
out.
don't.
Just
unless
throw
it's
this out.
unless it's supporting.
I'm not
JA
throwing it out.
is 3-0 when he had clam chowder out of a Dolphins helmet.
I think you're 4-0 now.
Go ahead, throw it out.
Boy, I hate to do this to you, but no, I'm just.
Well, it doesn't
that-
matter.
No, and I don't, and I could, you could talk me into backing Miami. Just, I think it's kind of a little bit overreaction to what happened last week. But teams that don't score in the first half of the first game of the season, Miami, like you said, kind of a dumpster fire. I don't know what they were doing in the first half. They didn't score, and that tends to carry over to the next game. And those teams struggle when they play their next game. So the under in that next game is actually 11-4. It's only happened 15 times over the last 20 years. But those teams are also 5-10 against the spread. So does that mean anything again?
Well, there's really no spread here, so it really more so what's the straight up numbers, right? The straight up number is what the number that matters.
Yep.
That's right. I'm on Tua. He's on Tua to throw an interception,
Tua,
and he's also on Drake May to throw an interception. Which of the two would you say you prefer?
I actually prefer May.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I could see that because the Dolphins do have a good front, right? At least names on the jersey. Mm-hmm. And that's all you can really go by. By that defensive line standards, you know what? They have a decent defensive line, or at least they should. So what happens when young quarterbacks get pressured burst pipes, and they get a little bit errant with the ball. So I can absolutely see that. I don't mind that. Yeah. Maybe not a nice little same game parlay. Miami Dolphins money line, a Drake May anytime interception over 0.5, of course. And I actually, I disagree with you on the total. I actually like the over in this spot because I think Tua is going to be able to put up a ton of points. And the only way the Patriots stay in this game is to match. And I think they can against this Miami defense. So we'll see how it plays out. Always fun. And of course, I will be at Hard Rock Live watching this game.
Bills versus Jets.
We have the Bills headed to New York to take on the Jets. The Bills are laying 6.5. The total here is at 46.5. Now, Shark, week 1 gave us a tale of 2 tickets, right? Buffalo put up 41 points on Baltimore, 450 yards of offense. Josh Allen, Superman, reigning MVP. Put some respect on that man's name. 4 touchdowns. And the Jets, the Jets basically just jetted the game. They looked good until they didn't. And that should basically be the Jets' motto. Find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Up late only to watch Xavier Gibson fumble a kickoff. And then, of course, what happens? 60-yard Boswell field goal, 34-32 lost. Both defenses gave up chunk plays in week 1. But as we say, no one cares if you win the game, right? All we care is whether or not you cover the spread, and the Jets did just that. They cashed tickets for me. They stayed inside the 3.5, which is where it was most of the week. Now, the market wants to buy back on the Jets here in this spot as well. Shark, do you agree with that?
Game side going to be tough for me here, but I do like a contrarian buy on the under in this game. And you said it. Everybody was watching Sunday Night Football. 41-40 instant classic Buffalo over Baltimore. And you said it, Jets 34-32. Where did that point explosion come from? It wasn't really in the box score. Pittsburgh
Justin Fields, baby. Justin Fields.
Pittsburgh only had 271 yards of total offense, somehow scored 34 points. This is an elite defense. It's Aaron Glenn. He played corner for this team in the 90s, second career game. Last time these teams played, divisional matchup last year, 54 points, lower line. And final point on this, Buffalo last year was 5-0 to the under in their first 5 road games and 3-0 to the road under inside of the division. Expect a complete opposite from what you saw in week 1. Take the under and let's cash.
Yeah, I got to feel that that's pretty contrarian to what everybody's thinking, especially after seeing such high scoring totals and defenses basically getting carved up in week 1. You have one team coming in on an emotional high and one team coming in on an emotional low. Now, typically in this spot in week 2, you want to typically buy into the low spot, right? And the Sharps are doing just that. They're coming in and they're taking the Jets plus the points. This line has been pretty much bouncing all over the place, but still, I can't do it. Bill's just seen a mobile quarterback, right? Probably the best version of it. So it's hard to think that they can't handle Fields, but this is a spot the Bills have typically or historically struggled in. On the road, divisional game against the Jets, a team that they should be, a team they should handle. Actually, I actually like your take a little bit more. I'm personally going to stay away, but I could definitely see this one going under the posted total.
Seahawks versus Steelers.
Seattle heads from West Coast to East Coast to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers laying 3.5 here at home. The total is a low 39.5. Now, Gunz, who are you on in this spot? Because after week one, it felt like it was easy to sniff out. Pittsburgh rolled into fucking MetLife, gutted out a 34-32 win over the Jets. Aaron Rodgers torched his old squad like they owed him fucking money. 4 touchdowns, 136 passer rating. That's crazy. A 136 passer rating. You know, that's basically a statement, right? Meanwhile, Seattle ran the NFL's most stale offense, fewest pre-snap motions, lowest play action usage, 3 explosive pass plays, 0 on the fucking ground. Kenneth Walker looked more like a dancing bear than a running back. O-line got carved up. Sam Darnold locked onto his first read like he lost the fucking remote. Now, I have to ask this, was this last year more so with Sam Darnold? Was it more so the Kevin O'Connell effect? Because I talked about this. No one gets more out of less than Kevin O'Connell. You saw it with Kirk Cousins. You saw it with Sam Darnold. And now after one game, and I know small sample size, but JJ looks like he's going to be the next one. So to me, this screams Seattle fade. Are we fading the Seahawks here?
I'm actually going into the prop market on this one, and I'm actually taking a narrative in this spot. I'm going to be looking at DK Metcalf's prop on this spot, and when you look
revenge,
a little bit of a revenge, or is this more of a Seattle going to get revenge on DK Metcalf? Is what I'm going to be saying. On this one.
Yeah,
look at 2024. Yes. Seattle's defense was ranked second in defending the primary receiver, holding them to 50.5 receiving yards per game. Now Metcalf had an explosive game in his inaugural play in Pittsburgh, 83 yards, receiving yards in that one versus the Jets on 7 targets. But when we look at the Seattle defense, they held the main receiver, and it's a continuation from last season, Jennings to 2 receptions and 16 yards in week 1. So I think this is going to be a continuation in this fact. And then you got to look at there's a Seattle defense that knows DK Metcalf very well. So I think the revenge factor is not on DK Metcalf. It's more for the Seattle defense to go and make a stop on this primary receiver, and I think it's going to get done here. So the way I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the prop. Give me under 65.5 receiving yards on DK Metcalf.
Now, do you worry at all that that number can be achieved mainly on one catch? Or do you trust Seattle defense to two-man them, right? Up high, play a too high type coverage.
I think they're just going to they're going to focus on him. I think they're going to put their best corner on that one. And I think there's going to be the pressure on Aaron Rodgers. If you can get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, he's going to try to check down and hit receivers low. And DK Metcalf is more of a deep receiver, and I don't think they're going to give away the deep ball. Mind you, they did give away one deep ball with Brock Purdy last week, but that was kind of a flukish situation on a missed coverage. I don't think that's going to happen with DK Metcalf. I think they're going to focus on them, and I think that's going to be the primary preparation into this game that Seattle's defense is going to do.
And who's the tight end in Pittsburgh? Still Fairmouth?
Yep.
Maybe a little correlated spot there. Start targeting some of Fairmouth's catch props over. Or
screen passes. We may be looking at Jaylen Warren on some.
Yeah, that's not a bad look either. I could get behind that, but for me, I got to take the Steelers here, and I hate the thoughts of backing Aaron Rodgers, backing him off at an emotional high. Comeback win against the Jets. For a fact. He was in his feelings, right? He was absolutely in his bags about that one. And I could see the letdown spot here, but this is more so a bet on the Steelers' defensive line. I know that they had issues, in their secondary, but I don't trust Sam Darnold. Crazy. I trusted Justin Fields, but not Sam Darnold. However, Fields has the added element of his legs, and Sam doesn't, right? Sam more so stays in the pocket, dies in the pocket, playing with cement shoes. So I like the Steelers in this one, and I could definitely see the Seattle really making an effort to take away DK Metcalf. I also kind of lean to the under in this spot. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of points, so that more so backs up your narrative of DK Metcalf under as well. So there you have it.
Browns versus Ravens.
Cleveland heads to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Ravens here are laying 11.5. The total's at 44.5. Now, Baltimore dropped 40 on Buffalo. Lamar was throwing darts. Derrick Henry was fucking gashing people like he was back at Bama. But still, you know what? Lost the game. So it was a lock pretty much until the end when it wasn't, and Josh Allen just did what Josh Allen does, right? Superman cape on back, put the team on his back, and just fucking won the game. So, I mean, there's also a lot of billboard material going on here. Cleveland Brown players on defense talking about how Derrick Henry is easy to tackle. Yeah, buddy. Good luck with that shit. Cleveland, everybody was talking about how good they were going to be, how much improved they were going to be, and yet they put up 16 points. So for all this shit that we talk about the Bengals defense, yet they held the Cleveland Browns to 16. And I get it. You know what? A lot of miscues, a lot of young players dropping passes. So it did look ugly from the Cleveland side of the ball, but they dominated that. You know, held the ball for 36 minutes, converted on 55% of third downs, but still came away with nothing but excuses. Gunz, which way do you like here? It looks like, you know, sharps were coming in early on the Cleveland Browns, but now it's readjusting itself. So it went from 12.5 to 10.5. Now it's up to 11.5.
I mean, you look at both of these teams are coming from similar situations, 1-point losses. You have Cleveland that actually absolutely won the yardage battle in that game last week and plus 186 net yards in that one, but they had a -2 turnover ratio. That was the deciding factor in that game. But when you look at Baltimore coming off an even harder loss, having the lead in the fourth quarter, and then, of course, Josh Allen taking over that game, 41-40 loss in that one. But what I'm looking at is the line. I think this line is huge, and there's a reason for why it's huge. And when you look at Baltimore, I think it's a get-right spot for them, playing at home, a home opener in that one. Double-digit favorite last year, 2-0 ATS in those positions. Last year, Cleveland was a double-digit dog 2 times last season, 18-25 and 0-2 ATS in those situations. Now you got to look at Baltimore. Does well after a loss, too. They're 8-1 ATS, dating back to 2023 in those positions, winning by an average margin of 14.4 points per game. This is a Baltimore spot. I know it may be public and the Sharps are taking the Cleveland Browns side, but I think it's wrong. It should have been a shorter line if they thought it was going to be the Cleveland Browns, but it's Baltimore all day long. Give me the Ravens, -11.5 as the play.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Ravens are going to come out pissed off. Sharps bet this down from 12.5 to 10.5. It is back up to 11.5. And all I can say is, thank you for your services. You know, I got a better number, and I'm going to lay the 11.5 here. But let's be honest. You know, any team but the Bills, any quarterback but Josh Allen, the Ravens win that game by 3 touchdowns. This week, I believe they will. Look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, crab cakes in football, that's what Maryland does, right? Matter of fact, I like the Ravens so much here to win and cover. I will rub crab cakes all over my nipples live on the show next week if they don't cover this spread. Remember, you heard Daddy. And they better cover.
I'll rub lobsters on it for the
they better fucking cover that. Nobody wants to see that.
Broncos versus Colts.
Bo Nix and the Broncos head to Indianapolis to take on Danny Dimes and the Indianapolis Colts. The Broncos come in as a short favorite, laying 1.5, and the total is at what? What is the total at? 43.5. Luke, give me a prop card here. Denver's defense flat out smothered Tennessee. They allowed just 133 total yards, 62 passing, 2.5 yards per play. That's not defense. That's a prison sentence. That's playing inside of a fucking cardboard box. Offense, however, was gross. Bo Nix threw 3 interceptions, and that fumble, ridiculous. Probably the ugliest thing. It looked like he was trying to pitch it to somebody behind him, except there was nobody behind him. So did he single out a girl in the crowd and say, hey, I want to give her a ball? Here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what he was doing. You know, we talk about a lot, and I've mentioned this to you before in the past. He has a lot of that Brett Favre in him, but the problem is he has more of that bad side of Brett Favre, right? Now, the bright side, of course, was J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey, 151 combined rushing yards. Meanwhile, Danny Dimes was really just fucking putting on his show. Scored on all 7 drives. It's hard to see that happening again here. I mean, this is a different animal, right? This is the Broncos defense. The Broncos defense is not the Miami Dolphins defense. So, Luke, who are we going to target in this spot?
Yeah, so it's crazy. You said Broncos defense. They looked as good. It was 1 week, but they looked as good as the Super Bowl defense back when Peyton Manning was the quarterback. And on the flip side,
I'm going to argue one point there, and then I'll let you go back, right?
Yeah.
That is a different game and a completely different outcome if Calvin Ridley doesn't have hands like feet. That's all I'm saying.
100%. That's true. It's crazy. Broncos could have easily lost week 1 to Cam.
They should have lost.
Yeah,
like they should have lost
on the road. It's nuts.
Yeah, they didn't win. They escaped.
It was more than an escape. Yeah. So what I'm going here though is I would have bet anyone in this country would have lost money if they said Danny Dimes would have had the stat line he did and Bo Nix had his. It's just completely reversed from what we would have thought. That being said, incredible buy low spot here for Bo Nix on his rushing yards. I think he's going to be hesitant through the air. You mentioned 3 picks. He's going to go against a Colts defense that's pretty damn good. Broncos had an abysmal week 1 performance. I expect a much better night or day against the Colts. And the Colts made Tua in Miami look like a Canadian football team, but that's just week 1. Last year, Nix covered this rushing line in his final 5 games. What's important to me is the attempts he got. He averaged 5.4 carries per game. I expect him to use his legs. Again, a little more hesitant in the air with 3 picks. Last week, 8 rushes for just 18 yards, only 2.3 yards per carry. Indianapolis plays good coverage. Nix is going to scramble. I think he could cover this line, Jay, at halftime, and I'm not kidding. He's going to cover it early. Lock that shit in. It's Bo Nix over 17.5 rushing yards. Book it.
Now, I will say he's athletic enough to get most of the bulk of that on 1 carry. But does it concern you at all with Sean Payton? Right? Because Sean Payton is a guy that typically has his quarterbacks ready to play. Now, granted, they weren't ready. He wasn't ready against Tennessee, but that could have been opening game jitters as well, right? But do you think that he's going to have Bo Nix up and ready and more so ready to air it out? Or also, what I see, I think the Broncos are going to, head more on the ground. And I don't think, Sean Payton's a guy, we're not talking about
design QB runs? No.
Yeah, design QB runs here. So most of his runs are going to have to come from broken coverages or from from reads, out of pass plays. So do you see that being an issue? Because Sean Payton is a guy that, you don't really look at his quarterback playing without confidence.
Right. That's kind of the public perception. You think of Drew Brees, drop back, never, ever scrambled or rushed for any yardage. I think that he intends Bo Nix to mostly drop back, but Nix has always been that guy. Whether he was at Auburn or Oregon, he always had legs. And so I think what's going to happen here in my mind, Colts are going to take away his first read. They're going to see Ken Nix make his progressions, read 2 and 3, and he might get a little scrambly, might get a little, quick feet, cold feet, and get out of there. I think he's not going to intend for that to be the case. I think Nix does it anyway, just because of his style of play and his inherent Brett Favre-ness, like you mentioned.
And I am going to say this to everybody. The Colts defense is actually not as good as Tennessee's defense. We look at Tennessee as a dumpster fire, but they actually do have a good defense and a good defensive front. So, I mean, look, Bo Nix rushing prop, I can definitely see it getting there. Personally, I'm on the under in this game. I'm going to expect regression from Danny Dimes, right? You have to expect regression from Daniel Jones. The Broncos defense is not the Dolphins defense. Daniel Jones is not going fucking 22 of 29 for 272 yards. It's not going to happen. Not against this Broncos defense. And I don't care if it's in Indianapolis. Defense travels well. I also don't trust Bo Nix. I expect the Broncos run heavy game. I think that's going to be the game plan coming in. So I expect a heavy dose of RK and RJ. They're going to keep the clock running and moving the chains. So, I mean, it kind of correlates, doesn't really correlate, but it does fit the narrative of where you're going with this. I will be honest. You know what? I'm actually shocked that you didn't come in with like a JK or RJ prop in this spot.
Yeah, and I don't hate him. It's just, to be honest, that's the public play. And I'd like to be a little bit contrarian. I think the public saw how bad Nix was, and they're going to pound the rock because they have 2 stud running backs. I just think that's where everyone's headed. And so I like to steer away and get a little extra value on another prop. So I'm not saying it's a bad look. It's just it's something that I'm looking past.
Yeah, I'm not on either. I just,
And I was on RJ Harvey last week. I want to clarify that. I had smashed his over. And so now I think it's a week where we sit back and see what he does in week 2.
And he got a bulk of the carries. So, I mean, I could see that, happening here in this spot as well, right?
J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. 3 NFL games for this Sunday. 3 straight, 3 two-team parlays, 1 week, $99. His Pro Football Triple Crown must go 3-0 or the entire NFL season is free. J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. Link in the description below. Click the link now and jump on the money train.
versus Cardinals.
Carolina heads to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. The Cardinals here are laying a touchdown. The total here is at 44. So Arizona, anything but cruised over the New Orleans Saints in week 1. Got nothing from Kyler Murray, but I guess he didn't turn it over. That's something, right? 146 rushing yards is good, not great. The bright side was they controlled possession. They won the game. That's the bright side. That's where it comes. And more importantly, they covered the game. Carolina, on the other hand, they got stomped 26-10 by Jacksonville. It was actually worse than that. Bryce Young coughed it up 3 times. Chuba Herbert just under 90 yards total and a token touchdown in garbage time. They were 2 for 11 on third downs. That's not variance. That's incompetence. Talking heads on YouTube always try to make a case for this Carolina Panther team every year, but be careful who you guys listen to. Line leans towards the Cardinals here. It opened up here at 6.5. It immediately went to a touchdown, and now it's going up and over touchdown in some markets. Coach, are you going to make a case for the Panthers as well?
As the truckers say, that'd be a negatory, good buddy. No, there's just no. And I'm sure we'll all hear, well, Carolina owns the series and they're 7-1 and 7-1 ATS and blah, blah, blah. You know what? They gave up 200 yards on the ground. And like you mentioned, they just got dick stomped by Jacksonville. Arizona, actually, you talk about their performance a little bit. Ran the ball okay. Kyler Murray only had 163 yards passing. He did throw 2 touchdowns, but it was revealed after the game he actually was sick. So he was playing, not at 100%. So if I'm gonna take quarterback versus quarterback, I'm gonna lean towards Kyler Murray. Bryce Young has 6 starts at either late afternoon or evening prime time, whatever you want to call it, and he's 0-6. I don't, does that mean anything? Not really, but when he throws picks, that means something. And like I said, I lean towards Kyler Murray. I also lean towards Arizona's defense. I think we're going to find out the Cardinals are pretty decent defensively. There's nothing that can convince me to side with Carolina. I got Arizona at -6.5. Like you said, it is 7. You'll see 7.5. I'd be hesitant to take it at 7.5. But I'd get it to 7 and take that. So, like I said, I have Arizona -6.5. I'd play it to 7.
Yeah, friends don't let friends bet on Carolina, right? Talking heads all over the, it's all the clowns on YouTube, right? They look for narratives to bet Carolina. True or false, it doesn't really matter. They force Panther narratives in every single week. This is the guy who sits down at the blackjack table and he hits a 5 against the dealer's 6. You should get up. You should walk. Forget walk. You should get up and you should run. But you're at the blackjack table. Maybe you had a nice little run. So instead you end up staying and it only gets worse from there. Can't do it. Won't do it. Cardinals are nothing for me.
Eagles versus Chiefs.
Eagles head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Now, obviously, this is going to be the game of the week, and for good reason. Super Bowl rematch. The Chiefs come in like a wounded animal here in this one. And, of course, the Sharks are circling. Our guy Sharky is circling. There is blood in the water in Kansas City. But this feels like a tough spot for the Chiefs, right? You travel back from Brazil, receiver room decimated, Rashid Rice suspended, Worthy is going to be out with a dislocated shoulder. The offensive line was a question mark coming in, and we pretty much got our answer, but not the answer that Chiefs fans were hoping for, right? Mahomes was pressured on 33% of his dropbacks. Run blocking, non-existent. It's hard to imagine that Mahomes is going to start the season 0-2, but that just might be reality right now. Philadelphia picked up pretty much where they left off. Hurts punched in 2 touchdowns. Saquon added another. Perception here still inflates the Kansas City market, right? Everybody comes in, they're screaming, that the no way the Chiefs can lose 2 in a row. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. But listen, if you're betting the Chiefs in this spot, you're investing in nostalgia, not performance. Now, I can't and I won't put my money on this game myself. Now, Shark, this is the type of game that you and I typically disagree on, but then you bust out some stat. Are you going to do it again here? Are you going to fade the logic?
I'm definitely fading what is now the sexiest thing in all markets of gambling sports related. Bounce back revenge. I don't see it coming. I see the Eagles getting a win in Arrowhead. Only the second time in his career Mahomes has been a home underdog. Let that tell you the story. The books think the Eagles are strong. I think they're strong. And if you really look at the Chiefs, you said it. 3 straight Super Bowl appearances. Team is hurt, older, distracted, coming back from altitude at Brazil. This is not where they find their momentum against probably the best team playing pro football right now in 2025. Both teams didn't cover in week 1. Philadelphia looked better in the process, beating, I think, an upstart Dallas team this year at home in the division. KC was uncompetitive in Brazil. Go back to last year. Kansas City was 3-5 at home, ATS, throughout the entire season. Philadelphia 6-2 road last year against the spread. The line's all over it. It's not revenge. You said it. It's nostalgia. It's Taylor Swift. It's a Mahomes haircut. It doesn't matter. Jalen Hurts, turn up your quality. Bang, bang, Bird Gang. Let's dominate.
Are we ever going to get to a point where Taylor Swift does not come into the conversation when we're talking about Chiefs games? For fuck's sakes, man. Listen, one thing I'm going to say this, right? The Dallas Cowboys offense looked way better than expected. They're going to be a problem this year. They're going to be a problem on the offensive side of the ball. But then you turn it around and you flip that over, and the Eagles did exactly what was expected to them on the offensive side of the ball against a bad and what's projected to be a terrible Dallas Cowboy defense. And then you think of the Kansas City Chiefs, right? All they win by is toughness and defense, but they couldn't stop Justin Herbert in the Chargers. Good luck with Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles. This isn't a pep talk. Right now, this right here is a public service announcement. Kansas City looks tired, thin, and banged up. The Eagles look hungry, physical, and deep. Mahomes is great, no question, but even Superman needs a fucking phone booth. Take the Eagles money line. I'm with Shark on this one. We both align here.
Falcons versus Vikings.
Atlanta headed to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Vikings here laying 3.5. The total is at 44.5. All right, Shuey. First off, we got to give an attaboy, right, to J.J. McCarthy. This is the Sunday night game here. He debuted on Monday night. Look, he debuted like he's been there before. Threw 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, rushed for another, overcame a pick 6. You know, young quarterbacks are always going to make those mistakes, right? And that's just part of the process. The mistake isn't what really matters. What matters is what they do after the mistake. That's what separates the greats from the Caleb Williams. NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. Ceiling looks legit. Now, on the flip side, Atlanta, they got pounded at home. Bijan Robinson led the team in receiving, but he couldn't manage over 25 yards rushing. How do you see this one? I mean, are you targeting anybody here? Vikings are on a short week playing on Sunday night now. Atlanta looked okay, right, and just gave up the lead and lost late. How do you see this? Who do you like in this game? Who should we target?
Yeah, and the Falcons even had a chance to tie. Should have made a field goal to force overtime. But they, Young-Ho Koo missed it, fail. You mentioned McCarthy. Not often do you see, I know he's not technically a rookie. For all intents and purposes, you never see a rookie in his first game have a fourth quarter comeback victory. He stepped in, looked like a gunslinger. I think he has that mojo. So what we see tonight, I actually do think McCarthy has an improvement from the get-go against the Falcons defense. I love him to air it out specifically more to the tight end. TJ Hawkinson really uninvolved in game 1 against the Bears. But that's just because the Vikings couldn't get it going. All he saw was 3 catches, 4 targets, and 15 yards. That's nothing for Hawkinson. I think in an offense with Justin Jefferson drawing so much attention, Hawkinson's going to have to be a main guy. He has an over line again in this game. It's about 40 yards. I have it at 39.5. I'm smashing the over here. This is a free play I love. It might be my top free play of the week. It's TJ Hawkinson over 39.5 yards. I love it so much. We'll give it a double. Book it. Discount double check.
I mean, listen, it's safe to say they know who their number 1 is. At least until Addison comes back, they're going to have to establish a number 2, right? So, but who did look good was this kid Naylor. So I don't know if they're going to look more towards Naylor or they're going to look to TJ. Listen, I'm always for tight end props as far as receptions go. I don't like to target their ATDs. I don't like to target their yardage, but I do like to target their receptions when they're in that area of 3.5 to 4.5. And I believe this one was. I did target it a little bit like a sprinkle on TJ Hawkinson on Monday night as well, and he just fell short. I mean, he had 3 catches. The line there was 3.5, so I couldn't agree more. Look,
and if you want to go that route, his line again is 3.5. It's juiced to the over, so you could bet both of those or go receptions. I like both. I just went yardage because I think he gets there on the yards. But yeah, I actually love both props in this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just not a yardage guy, right? I don't think I think it's very difficult to project yardage, but again, that's why you're the prop master. Now, I'm going to say this, right? So when I looked at this game, I was a little bit worried about the hangover. JJ made his first start on national television. He got the win. Now he plays another spotlight game. I told you guys, it was coming, right? He didn't look bad through the third quarter. I told you guys in the chat when we were sitting there talking during the game, right? I told you guys it's coming. He's going to put one drive together, and all of a sudden he's going to have that aha moment, and he's going to start to see the field, and he's going to start to trust his arm. And once he starts to trust his arm, Kevin O'Connell, the true quarterback whisperer, is going to start to trust in his quarterback. Well, it came, and of course the Bears went. Now, I don't really know what to make of the Atlanta Falcons, right? Because Penix looked good. He didn't look bad. He didn't do all that much, but he didn't look bad either. And they were in a position to win. But you know what they say, right? Bad teams find ways to lose. Yep. Good teams find ways to win. So if the Atlanta Falcons found a way to lose, are they just a bad team? Right? So I don't know how to look at this, but the problem with this game, and this is the biggest issue I'm having with this game, and it's Sunday night. So of course, all of the degenerates in us are going to want to bet this game, right? After sitting here pounding beers and pounding, and pounding food and watching a full slate of NFL games, in comes Sunday night. But this has the makings of a rock fight. This has the makings of an ugly game. And, we're all going to pound it anyway because we're just fucking stupid. However, we probably should ease back and lay back. I'm probably going to err to the side of caution and stay away from this game. But my arms can be twisted closer to game time, especially when I'm sitting
if you
here.
If you dial up a triple crown in the early games and the 3 p.m. games, you're gonna hammer it. But I do agree. I actually think this is one you kind of got to study up. We got to know what McCarthy and Penix do in prime time. We saw McCarthy Monday night. That's just one sample. We haven't seen Penix do much of anything. So it's like this is a study game for me. I want to see more of it. Hawkinson's the safe spot. He's my safest play, and that's why I'm hammering it.
Maybe I'll get to the window with you there. Maybe I'll just, maybe I'll just sprinkle somewhere, put together like a ridiculous 5 leg parlay. Because I mean, for Christ's sakes, what could go wrong?
You're gonna DJ.
Yeah, no, listen. I plan on being up so much money going into that game that it really won't truly matter what I do in the actual game, right? Like that's the way I see it personally. But you know what? We'll see how it goes.
Dial it up.
All right, so here it is, time for NFL Best Bets, and I'm going to kick it off here. NFL Best Bet for NFL Week 2 is going to be the Miami Dolphins. Looking over my shoulder, that's right, we're taking the Dolphins. We're going to take the money line. I told you, I love the spot. I love the play. I think that we get the dead cat bounce in this here. Fins up. We're going to cash with the Dolphins. I told you, if I don't win this game, I'm going to come back here on this show next week, and I'm going to eat clam chowder out of a Dolphins helmet. Don't want to eat clam chowder out of a Dolphins helmet. Give me your best bet here for NFL Week 2, and in addition to our pizza leg parlay.
Saw it back in February. It's Week 2. The buy hat is engaged. Eagles go into Arrowhead, kick some ass. No revenge coming. Take the Eagles, and let's cash.
For as much as I hate to agree with you, but this show, we seem pretty correlated. So there we go. I'm on that as well. Okay, so Eagles best bet from Shark. Also going to be a leg in the pizza money parlay. All right, for the show, Gunz, give me a best bet. What's the best way to get to the window?
The best way to get to the window is death taxes. Always fade the Bengals early in the season. I'm going to be on the Jaguars plus 3.5, and let me tell you why. You have the Jags that actually looked impressive. While they only played the Carolina Panthers, they had a plus 123 net yards in that game, 200 yards on the ground. So they're doing the right things. You're supposed to dominate bad teams, and I think this is a good direction with the new coach at the helm. And then you got Cincinnati. They're coming off a 17-16 win, but they got dominated in the yardage, minus 186 net yards in that game, minus 2 turnover ratio. And I just believe that this team is going to have problems going into this game. Now, Jacksonville has done well in these positions as a short dog. They're 7-3 ATS as a dog between 3 and 7.5 points. They're also 5-1 ATS in those positions on the road. So this is a very good spot to go take the Jags. And then you can get it above a field goal right now. So give me the Jaguars plus 3.5 as my best bet.
I can't say I hate it. I mean, I can't say I like it either, but you know what? There it is. Best bet from Gunz, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll tell you what, in that game, I actually like points from both sides. I think it's going to be a very, very, very high-scoring game. But you know what? I mean, look, Jacksonville Jaguars, that hook is going to be everything. So let me ask you a question. If this line was at 2.5 and you can get this at 2.5 at a fair price, do you then flip it to the Bengals? Is this just a value spot on the Jaguars?
I love the key number over 3.5 because how successful they've been. If you actually go into that history, they've lost games by 3 points.
Of course.
If you get it at 2.5, this is a perfect teaser. I would put this as a teaser if it got below 2.5. If you're buying it on Sunday and move that number up on a 6-point teaser to 8.5, and then parlay it with something else, Jaguars are going to be a live teaser if it goes below the 3.
Well, speaking of parlays, there's a leg for the Pizza Money Parlay at plus 5,000 this week. The Jacksonville Jaguars plus the 3.5. All right, Coach, tell the guys what your best bet is for the show this week.
Best bet, simple. Cincinnati Bengals do not shit the bed, and they come out and go over their team total of 26.5. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, all these guys, they're just too talented. They didn't play well last week. I believe they bounced back. They've gone over this number 7 of their last 10. I could name big totals that they've put up, but they'll do it this week. Bengals over 26.5.
There you have it. I like the over in the game, and Coach loves the Bengals to do the heavy lifting. He thinks they put up 30-plus in this spot. I cannot disagree. And there you have it, another leg for your nice little Pizza Money Parlay. So we have best bet from Coach Rick Bowe, Bengals team total over 26.5. All right, Luke, what is your best bet for the show? Tell these guys how to get to the window.
I broke it down earlier. This is a play that I'm hammering on VIP, free play, and best bet. It's something that I think cashes. First half could happen on one run. It's got to be Bo Nix, bounce back spot, looking to scramble after he had 3 picks last week. Over 17.5 rushing yards. Smash it, book that shit, whatever you want to say. It's hitting.
You gonna throw in a bucket for us?
Oh, I got it. Yeah, shoulder's feeling good. Got the injection. Book it.
Let's go. Good luck on your best bets. All your best this week here, buddy. So here it is. We put together a nice little Pizza Money Parlay from the team. Now, this is actually plus 53.54. So that's just sick money. Look, again, guys, when it comes to these parlays, that's why it's called the Pizza Money Parlay. You go small, you have a little bit of fun with it, if at all. So first off, my best bet for the show, of course, is the Miami Dolphins money line. And then Luke, his best bet is Bo Nix over 17.5 rushing yards. Then we have Shark. His best bet is the Eagles laying 1.5. Coach Rick's best bet is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals over 26.5. That's their team total over. And Gunz, the Jacksonville Jaguars plus the 3.5. One more time for you guys. My best bet is the Miami Dolphins. That's the first leg of the Pizza Money Parlay. Second leg of the Pizza Money Parlay is the Bo Nix over 17.5 rushing yards. Third leg of the parlay is the Philadelphia Eagles. You can lay the 1.5, or play in money line. The fourth leg of this parlay is the team total, the Cincinnati Bengals over 26.5. And then the last leg of this parlay comes in from Gunz. This is the fifth leg of the parlay, the Jacksonville Jaguars plus the points plus the 3.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, there you have it. Like I said, that pays plus 53.54. That's just sick. But again, Pizza Money Parlay, be careful.
J.A. Cavaliers Pro Football Triple Crown. 3 NFL games for this Sunday. 3 straight, 3 two-team parlays, 1 week, $99. His Pro Football Triple Crown must go 3-0 or the entire NFL season is free. J.A. Cavaliers Pro Football Triple Crown. Link in the description below. Click the link now and jump on the money train.
That's right. Get to whylose.com. That's the letter Y, LOSE.com. And for Christ's sakes, pick up this week's NFL Triple Crown. 3 max bets, 3 straight, 3 two-team parlays, 1 week, $99. Must go 6-0 or the entire NFL season is yours free. You can pick it up. Link in the description below. Let's go. Now, guys, before we close this out here this week, now this was important for me to address. I didn't always agree with Charlie Kirk. I didn't like a lot of his takes. I don't like a lot of his values, but I respect him. You know, it doesn't matter who the person is, left, right, celebrity, politician, influencer. But when violence enters the conversation, we all lose. Even if you can't stand their values, even if you don't understand or agree with their opinions, using bullets instead of debate is just immoral. It's destructive to everything that we claim to believe in as a civil society. And the worst part, the way we rush to post it, share it, meme it, like it, put it on people's timelines. Violence isn't entertainment, it's tragedy. Every time we amplify it, we numb ourselves just a little bit more. We make the next act feel more normal. And we forget the simple truth. Disagreement is not and should not be a death sentence. We don't have to like each other's voices, each other's opinions, but we better respect each other's right to have one. Charlie Kirk, rest in peace. All right, so for Coach Rick, Luke Shuey, Gunz Shark, I, of course, MJ Cavalier, this has been NFL Player Performance. We're going to see you guys back here as we break down the entire card for NFL Week 3. But until then, remember that with your heads, not above them.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation.